Hi. So I saw this question from Raphael Ions saying, what can we do apart from creating our own realm, and what are our options as regards, life after death? What happens when you die, and how to escape all of the little bad things we might have heard? So, first of all, our perception is super strong. The way we see reality and understand it, and what we give meaning to, is everything in this game of Matrix. So if we believe that there are other parties, let's say, okay, you read books, you listen to videos and various podcasts and people, you hear so many opinions of what can happen when you die that you're not so sure what to do. And so, okay, like religion, hell and heaven, okay, we can sin, and then how do we avoid going to hell or the purgatory or all the other places that are scary to us, and how do we avoid that life review thing, right? So it all depends on what kind of meaning and power we give to the beings that we can encounter, and it's not necessarily that we are gonna encounter them, but we believe, and if we believe that we will, well, we're gonna attract that. So basically, everything you give power to and meaning to, let's say your fear, possible fear of being captured, being recycled, reincarnating, having some kind of beings come over and just try to lie to you and deceive you into coming back. A lot of people have that fear. If it's a scary looking monster, like a reptilian or someone, of course we're not going to listen to them. A sane person would be like, no, you look crazy, scary, and you want me to get back into that machine. I ain't going there. That's going to be most people's reaction. But when it's a loved one, when it's someone we care about, like, oh, grandma, oh, look, it's our siblings, a kitty, doggy, ooh, like my lover. We have connections here on Earth, and then we see them after, we cross over. And we're like, hey, they're talking to us. We're so in love. We had a connection. And all of a sudden, they're offering us to come here. And we're like, yeah, but I want to go. A lot of people have the fear that that's going to happen. It's not necessarily the thing. So all of these fears of us crossing over and seeing the white light and then being attracted to it, like towards a magnet, like, oh, I'm just flowing there. What do? I don't know how to fly. I don't know how to move. And all of these thoughts of, oh, you got scared. I don't know how to move. And all of a sudden, what do? How do I fly away? How do I swim in this possible void or space? What the hell is going on? That fear and us telling ourselves that we are limited, I can't move, I don't know what to do, is creating our reality. If we tell ourselves, no, this is not real. I am the creator. I can do everything. That's real. If you have seen Stranger Things, and I think in season 4, there's a scene where Vecna, the big bad guy, is attacking one of their friends, as in, I will not remember her name, but this red-haired looking girl, she's amazing. I think Sadie Sink is her name, real actress name. And Vecna is imposing his own reality. And if she buys into it, oh, there's this, crazy classroom or hall room, and it's all scary and I'm limited and I cannot escape, or she is in Vecna's world where she's tied up with all those tentacles and she's like, okay, I'm done. And she's about to give up. If we buy into that reality of white lies, reptilians, loved ones trying to get us back here, into recycling, soul traps, and every possible scary story that you've heard that might be limiting, that might get you back here, we are buying into someone else's reality, and we are allowing them to create that, and we are playing along by giving up. And like Sadie Sink did in Stranger Things, she would close her eyes, and her friends put their headphones, and she was listening to her favorite song, Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. And she could remember every single moment, the good ones that had happened with her friends, the love, being connected to, being cared about, having fun. And you would look into your life, or possibly make stuff up. If nothing good happened in this life, you would look at your dreams, oh, me petting a tiger. And I would love that so much. Just be in that wilderness where they're friendly and everything's being washed and everything. But, just petting this massive tiger or a lion, I would love that so much. Or make anything up, but it has to feel good. It's like your dream world. And these are the best parts if you have ever experienced love, one way or the other, whether it was from your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, your friends, your lover, that moment of, it's safe now. I'm in their arms and I feel good. And for that moment, you change your breathing. Like, when you're panicking, it's all stressful and you're like, you're different. But when you're in love, it slows down. You breathe deeper, you relax, and you buy into that memory of how good it felt, the safety, the joy of finally, I have what I want. This is my dream coming true. The person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And you would go through all of these feeling states, but when it's love, when you're safe, when you have everything you want, if you have ever experienced that moment, if you just go into that memory of how good it felt and allow yourself for a few seconds to be there, to feel that, to remind yourself how good it can be, you are shifting into creation. You're shifting into, it's safe. I'm in control. I can do anything. If when we die, we experience something negative and we start buying into the reality of, white light, it's scary, what if, our beliefs change. The way we perceive reality change. We start limiting ourselves. The biggest thing to know is once we die, our mind, that never-ending thinking we have, is not there anymore. If you've ever been out of body, if you've ever had a lucid dream, you should notice that there's no thoughts running around. That never-ending machine that does not shut up is not there. It's quiet. Because as a consciousness, you are in the perception. You're in the knowing. There is no, what's that? You don't think about things. You see it. You know it. It's there. But you don't go thinking about it. And so once we get scared, we recall the stories we've heard, things we remember, things we have learned. We go into what if, all the possible bad things, because we're used to bad things happening to us. And then we buy into that reality of, what if I'm limited? I don't know how to teleport. I don't know any of this stuff. I've heard stories. I have not ever tried it. How do I do it? And we limit ourselves with those thoughts. But if you allow yourself to stop yourself, like from anything, from just, okay, for a moment, I'm not going to look. I'm just going to focus on love. Focus of, like being safe, being hugged, being cared for. Just those few seconds where you are safe. Your perception shifts. Now you're not in the panic mode. Now you're in like, it's fine. And from that moment, when you tell yourself it's fine, when you feel like it's all right, like you're not necessarily in love, but you feel that, you shift, you're in control again. You don't have any panicking thoughts running around, like ruining everything. You're calm. And from there, you can go, okay, white light, not my reality. Reptilians? No, not here. Your frequency shifts like that. And you are able to create everything. And if you think you can fly, you can fly. If you think you can teleport, you can teleport. If you doubt yourself and like, no, I don't know how to do this stuff, you are creating yourself not knowing how to do all of that. But at the same time, you can flip it and you can create the positive outcome. So playing with the emotions of catching yourself in that feeling state and being in control is important. Same thing, like if you would be in a dream state and something crazy is happening, if you can just stop yourself for a moment, close your eyes, or just focus on something good, literally the reality you're experiencing, even if it's a nightmare, will shift. It will shift and you can create something positive out of that. any crazy nightmare you have with the most pure evil beings, or the feeling state you pick up from there with the fear, any kind of crazy case scenario you might experience, if you in a lucid dream manage to stop that and for a moment focus on something positive, it's going to change. Because you turn into the creation, not being the victim, not being run by the program, not giving in into someone else's reality. You start creating the way you want. And everything shifts with love. I mean, it's probably the best feeling state I can pick up, but like just remembering the best joyous moments in your life where you had fun, where you were relaxed, where you were in control, where you were safe. Those are like super important, because recalling that moment, and if you just allow yourself to sit there for a few seconds, small things, but anything small that has happened to you is actually important, the good stuff. Maybe it's like talking to your grandparents and them, feeding you some yummy food, like, oh my God, my grandma cooks so good. And that alone, if I would just focus on my grandmother's food, all the love she puts in there, and just like, wow, any food I can taste is fine, but hers, man, this is the best. And that alone is like, it doesn't matter what I'm experiencing, my grandma's freaking great. And all of a sudden my reality shifts. So there's that. What you focus on, the importance you give, the control of your thoughts, the feeling state that you're in will be in charge of everything. If you give in to fears, if you start buying into that reality of I cannot do anything, well, you're going to create that. But at the same time, you can flip into I can fly, I can teleport, I can move away. All the beings there, they're not there anymore. And you shift that reality. Now, another thing to focus on is that we have a bunch of tools. If you've ever played video games, if you've been into programming, you are the God creator being. You can create rules, if and then, right? So you have the settings and you can give yourself the best tools. Like, okay, I've heard about soul traps. I've heard about all of these beings that can capture me. Like, I'm scared. How do I avoid them? So you can literally give yourself this little computer screen on your hand, a little device like a phone. Boom, you just like think of, okay, I have a device on my hand. I have a phone or something. And it just shows me the map and everything around me, any possible entities, archons, beings that can, be dangerous to me, beings that can get in the way, beings that can try to deceive me. You can tell yourself what you will see on that phone. You create that. You give yourself the power. Same like in lucid dreaming, same like in out of body, you are the creator there. Our thoughts create everything. It's your reality. And it's important to not give any power to the scary stories we've heard. Like, knowing about those things is really good because you are aware of it. But you don't have to give the meaning or the power to it. Like, okay, I've talked about soul traps. Scary. It's like, okay, thanks, Akvile, for bringing it up into my reality. Now I'm imagining a bunch of soul traps and it's ruining my thing. Okay, you can know about it, but now that you know, you can also avoid it. Okay, well, there's a soul trap. I'm just going to have a device on my phone, like a GPS, a little app, and it's going to show every possible soul trap in my vicinity or anywhere in the multiverse, and I can avoid them. So there's that. You can give yourself tools. You can have the knowingness of what's going on, of what's out there, and then, okay, how do I counter it? Well, I'm going to have a device to show me where not to go. I will have a device to show me where are the good guys. Okay, where's the Pleiadians? Where's the Illyrans? Where's all the good races I've heard about? And you can go and track them on your phone and go somewhere else. So there's that. Another important part in the afterlife is consciousness shifting, right? So we're thinking about, how do we move in that space? Do we fly? Do we swim? Do we walk? What the hell, So consciousness shifting, again, it's your perception. You're being in control of it. And where do you put yourself in that space? So in this life, you might have visited a location that felt really good. You might have been on the Hawaii beach. You might have been into the mountains or the forest, but you might have visited a location that felt like, wow, I would love to go there again. Having your favorite tree, your favorite garden, a place where you can relax and it just feels really good. Or simple, like something memorable, something where you were like, wow, that's how New York looks like. That's the Switzerland? Holy cow, I love it. And while you're sitting here in your room, you can try closing your eyes and try to put yourself in a place and recall what was it like visiting the location that you really enjoyed, location that really stood out to you. Where does the mountains or the hills or some farm or visiting your grandmother, anything where you can recall a lot of details. What was the air like? All the smells around, the temperature, the atmosphere. How did you feel when you were there? The location, the little details, the trees around you, maybe the cars, maybe the buildings, anything that stood out, that was meaningful to you, that you were really in awe and like just, admiring every possible single thing out there. And so the way you know your room, and you can close your eyes and walk into the bathroom without looking anywhere because you know the exact location, you know it's there. You can touch things around, you can touch your table, you can touch your couch, you can touch your phone and all the other things. You have the perception. And if you allow yourself to close your eyes, put yourself imagine, think of the location that you enjoyed. And then what would it be like if you would walk there again? If you would sit there on that bench, on a tree log, smelling the forest. Like I say, it's relaxing. You hear the birds chirping, tweeting. You might see a little fox over there. Little details that stand out to you, but recreating the perception. Can you feel things around you? Can you smell it? Can you see it? Can you hear it? Having your senses over there, just try to perceive it, just try to feel it, try to experience it again. The more you are allowed to be there, the more you allow yourself to explore, to touch, to feel, taste, and everything, the more you're putting yourself into that reality, into that location. And so, again, it's all about our senses. So if you allow yourself to experience that again, or maybe for the first time, maybe you have not traveled that much, so you don't have any specific location, but you might have played video games, you might have watched some movies, and you're like, oh my God, Avatar's world, Assassin's Creed, and Roman running through the rooftops. And you have some of the little things you like in the world or location that you would love to visit. Just imagine what it would be like if you were there. You've saw that movie, you've played that game. So what would it be like if you were that character in that world, experiencing everything you've seen before? And you allow yourself for a few seconds to run through the rooftops, to see the dragons, to just, smell the fresh air in the mountain. And you were just experiencing that for a few seconds or longer, the longer the better. You put your consciousness and perception into that location and you start creating from there. So all of a sudden, where you were, let's say you cross over and all of a sudden you might see white light, or you might see the void, or you might see tons of things when you die. And even though you see all of that, you focus on the location that you might have seen or location that you have created before. And now you play with your perception. Your consciousness will jump there. You start creating your reality from that point of view in that location. You no longer create yourself from the point of view of, I just passed away, my physical body dropped dead, I'm standing right next to my body, or I'm in that void away from Earth. You don't have to create from that point. You move yourself into another location. And same thing, you can jump. So it's like consciousness shifting because you create the location or tune into a specific reality that you've already seen or might have heard about. You turn on your perception, all of your feeling and sensing and everything like that. And then you allow yourself to experience it more and more. And the more intense it is, you start creating from that point of view. You jump. Your consciousness is no longer standing next to your body, or it's no longer next to Earth. It's already in the new location. And that's how we teleport. We think of like, oh, I want to be on a spaceship. Play in a spaceship? Okay, what would it look like? Probably just okay, I sense a corridor inside, and there are like Pleiadians walking around there. I see it. And just those few seconds where you get the image of a corridor, a few Pleiadians walking by, you teleport there. You thought about it, you have an intention, and intention is very important. So like, okay, I want to teleport into this like specific location, or you just start creating and thinking about it and feeling it, you will jump there. So, of course, easy for me to talk because I have been out of body, and consciousness shifting is my thing. I love doing it. Done it a lot. Like I barely stay here in the physical, but trying it out, like in dreams and in the, like when you get out of body, just practicing it, you will feel so freaking comfortable once you succeed. Like, oh my God, I did it. I did it. Yes. That's all you need. Just that one little thing, just that one moment where you know you did it, you've tried it, you've seen yourself succeed, you saw yourself teleport and shift and end up in another location. That is all you need, that one feeling where I did it. And even though some of us might not get out of body, might not remember our dreams or be that lucid and aware in them, that is fine. Just practice with your physical body, closing your eyes. And even if you don't have visuals, feeling states. Play with the feeling states. It's so freaking important. So, you have thoughts, you can think about stuff, you can write things down to have more details. You can simulate the little process with watching some videos of locations. If you have seen, like, open up a picture, like look for ArtStation or DeviantArt, or now we have tons of websites and AI. Look for sceneries that you enjoy. And what would it be like? Like, allow yourself to shift into that reality, into that little dreamscape that you have seen on the little like image online. What would it feel like to be in that village, to be in that forest, to stand there, to smell things around? Like, what kind of smells would you smell? What kind of sounds would be there? And you just play around, but you shift. You shift into that location. The more real it becomes to you while you're here. You're sitting here on your chair, you're laying in bed, listening to me, and all of a sudden, okay, I've heard what you said. So you open up a picture and you allow yourself to be in that moment for a little bit. It doesn't have to be that long. But if you can just start hearing the birds, don't question your, like, oh, am I imagining it? Is it all my imagination? Am I making this up? It does not matter. It's all your imagination, always. This reality, it's all your imagination. Every single little thing. And just drop that belief because, hey, why doubt yourself? We're going to cross over. If you doubt yourself, am I just making this stuff up? Am I imagining that I can move? Well, yeah, you're imagining everything. And if you doubt yourself, you're going to be stuck. So give yourself that freedom to explore, freedom to feel and experience things for the first time or not. Maybe for 25,000, like who knows? But the feeling states are super important. So again, like I think like these are like probably the best things to focus on. Again, our thoughts and perceptions are super important, and we give power to what we focus on. If we get that state of, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to move, I am stuck, and we feel that and we play with that feeling and we focus on it, yes, you are going to create yourself being limited. That's why it is important for us to have a grabbing point of safety where we might have experienced love, where we were happy, where we were safe. And then we can like, okay, grab onto that moment. Your feeling state changes. You're in the safety, you're in the creation, you're into, I'm relaxed, everything's fine. And from that moment, where your perception changes, where your feeling state changes, you can start focusing on creating a different reality, creating the abilities like I can fly, I can create, I can move, I can do anything. That change into from panic, from being afraid, from not knowing what to do, or like, oh, I'm stuck, into I'm safe, I can create. It's so important to catch yourself to not buy into someone else's reality or the perception they're dropping to you. And at any moment in time, even if you feel like you're like, okay, I'm being drawn to the white light, I can't move, I have like a bunch of reptilians close to me, I'm scared. In that moment, just grab yourself, right? And for a few seconds, focus on the positive, focus on the good experience you've had, and that will be enough for you to create. Not buying into someone else's perception and reality, not playing their games, you start creating. If you can just allow yourself to focus on love, that safety, the good feeling, like just hugging your cat or dog. And for that moment, like, I love this little guy. That's my girl. and it just feels good. And that is enough for you to escape the trap of someone else's perception they're trying to put on you. And you can like start creating and moving from there. Anyway, our feeling states, what we focus on, consciousness shifting, these are probably like best tools, but there's so many. Like what I've mentioned, these are just a few things I'm playing around with. And our consciousness, our creativity, it's limitless. So whatever you can think about, you can do. So hopefully this gives you a few ideas. Thank you for watching. If you have any more tips on what to do once we cross over, any techniques you might have looked into, things that are making you feel empowered and like stronger and like, hey, this is what I'm going to do when I'm like crossing over, feel free to share that in the comments, because people are looking for ways to get out. And, you know, we need to beat that fear. We need to be free of that. So you might be the one to help. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.